Hi guys, so today's topic is all about protein preferences. So we want to be having a look at, some ways that you can just get a little bit more protein in your diet. It can be quite tricky sometimes depending on your own personal preferences, where it just might be you're not someone who eats a lot of protein, you might not be big on eating meat or other kind of sources like that. So you might struggle just noticing any differences. And this can be particularly something you notice when you start training. Maybe if you're someone who doesn't really go to the gym or isn't really trying to see any changes in your physique, you might not pay too much attention to your protein before and it just feels quite new. And when you actually kind of look at your diet, you might realise that you're lacking or you're quite far away from a kind of adequate protein target in relation to your goals. Maybe if you've been someone who's dieted all your life, followed lots of different diets, you might have been on really high protein diets like keto before, or like Atkins or something. They really hammer in the protein. But you might have also done, just diets, things that just really don't focus on protein much as well. You maybe always just kind of cut carbs or cut calories or just cut all sorts out without actually looking at the benefits of having a high protein diet, or just even an adequate amount of protein, not even particularly high. You might not have even looked at the kind of benefits it provides, all the kind of like smaller details that we might not really pay attention to, just like our overall health as well. Kind of gets ignored sometimes when we are fixated on our appearance or trying to reach a certain goal target, goal weight. Things like that, they'll kind of come into play and we might neglect the protein side of things. So this is going to kind of touch on all that today. This is quite a kind of short and sweet topic because if it could be so broad. There's honestly so much we can talk about when it comes to protein. But today we're basically just kind of honing in more on some of the benefits that might be quite specific to you from having more protein in your diet. Why you should be, or why I encourage you to have some more, and also helping you understand how much you should be having, why you should be having it, and just some other ways to kind of get a bit more in your diet and actually enjoy certain protein things as well, because sometimes they're just quite disgusting. So let's get into it. I'm just going to open up the slides and we'll get going. So let me find this. Hold on. I think it's just me you're looking at right now. Hold on a second. Share screen, that's what I'm looking for. I think I know how to do it by now. Okay, here we go. Right then. Now we're cooking. So let's have a look at protein preferences. So the main concerns, like I've just kind of outlined just now, are you getting enough protein? Why do you need to eat X amount of protein? So this is going to be the kind of adequate number that we were talking about. It's going to vary person to person how much protein you should be having, but it's good to know why you're having a protein target in the first place. Why is this amount and things like that. Another one, will it make you bulky or gain weight? So this is a really popular one whenever, we think of protein shakes or protein powders or protein in general. It's always, like muscly guys, like that kind of old school thing, cutting a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger, stuff like that, a big bodybuilder. Nah, we're not even going to entertain that thought. After today's chat, you'll have a better understanding about protein and why it won't make you bulky or gain weight if you do it properly, and what you can eat to boost your protein intake. So first of all, your concerns, are you consuming enough protein? So I said consuming because you might not just eat protein, you can get protein from other sources in the form of drink, powders. We kind of already mentioned that before, like shakes and stuff. But we'll kind of touch more on that when we get to the actual food side of things. But yeah, the minimum amount of protein for the general population, and I am saying general population because that is just like a kind of ballpark figure for Mr. Joe blogs, the general, or Jane blogs, I should say, just the general population, what they should have as a healthy amount of protein in their diet. And when we say diet, we just mean the food that you eat day to day, not as in like an actual dieting kind of way. It's just what you eat day in, day out, you should have this amount of protein. So the guidelines kind of say 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight is a good range to be in. And this is for, people that aren't, athletes, training to be big bodybuilders, anything like that. This is just a healthy amount of protein to look after your body. So I've put an example. If you weigh 60 kilograms, you need that 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So that would be 1 gram times 60 kilograms would mean you need 70 grams of protein per day to 70 grams of protein per day. So that's your range if you're going in that 1 to 1.2 grams kind of range. So 60 grams to 72 grams, it is not unachievable. That's a decent amount of protein. If you were to split that up throughout your meals, if you had your breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of standard meals, 3 meals, 20 grams of protein in each meal, that's fairly achievable, but people still struggle to reach that, especially women. And it's not in a sexist way, it is just purely men tend to be encouraged more to get stuck into meat and things like that. There might be different reasons, although that might change a bit more nowadays, but it's typically been more, females that are vegetarian or are more kind of body conscious, maybe don't want to consume as much meat because of attitudes such as, if you have lots of protein, you will gain weight, you will get bulky, you look like a bodybuilder, whereas men are like, right, I need to get bulky, I need to bulk up, I need to look like a big bodybuilder. So they would be more inclined to eat more meat. That is starting to change more these days, which is great to see. And it is through things like this, that we are doing right now, that we are kind of changing that attitude. But yeah, it's still something you see about, although it is definitely encouraged to eat more protein just in general health and well-being. But yeah, this is like a kind of standard range that you might want to be in if you're just looking to have a healthy body, have everything function well, balanced diet, So yeah, you can do that simple calculation right now. Just take your weight in kilograms, times it by 1 and 1.2, and that's your range right there. But if you are listening to this, if you're watching this, then the chances are that you are, conscious of being strong, conscious of having strong bones, muscles, your workout regularly, whether it's going to the gym, lifting weights, whether you do home workouts, bodyweight workouts, whatever it is you do, you might be a runner, blah, 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 whatever your activity is, the chances are that you're going to need a little bit more protein than that, okay? So like I've highlighted at the bottom, keep in mind you may require more if you're very active, if you work out regularly, and or are trying to gain muscle / tone up. Now, there is another slide on toning that we've covered previously, but remember that toning up is basically a way of developing your muscle and lowering your body fat in a way to show that muscle, okay? So toned is basically just, if you've got a kind of bit of muscle definition, yeah, and you've got a layer of fat over it, we want to reduce that layer of fat so you can see that nice toned muscle underneath, and that is basically what tone up is. So yeah, just being conscious that this is a kind of minimum range, that's the bottom end of the scale that you want to be. If you are quite an active person, you probably want to be having a little bit more protein than that. So let's go to the next one. Why do you need protein? So there's so many reasons why we need it. It's a macronutrient, and that just means that these are kind of bigger building blocks that our body requires for all these many functions. Yeah, so you'll have your macronutrients, those are carbs, proteins, and fats, and then your micronutrients are all your little vitamins and minerals and things like that. But we need protein because we want to promote strong and healthy bones, nails, skin, hair, all these things. It's not just muscles all the time. We want to think about having healthy nails and skin, and obviously having a balanced diet overall promotes, a healthier appearance and a well-functioning body. But protein definitely ticks all these boxes without getting into science because I'm not a scientist. But when you get into all the little molecules or whatever that make up protein, you've got amino acids and all these kind of things, and these are the building blocks that make up your protein, and these little things, they're all what look after your bones, nails, skin, hair, that make them up, that help them recover, replenish, grow. And yeah, you want to have a nice healthy body, you want to look healthy, you want to feel healthy, and protein is awesome for that. It is important for repairing and recovery of muscle and bones. So if we were looking from a purely exercising point of view, if you are pounding the pavements out running, if you are going to the gym and doing resistance workouts, then your body is going to be breaking down, your muscles going to be breaking down, you're going to be tearing fibers, and then you want to repair those fibers. So basically, you think of your muscles, they are made of protein. If you're tearing apart, then you need more protein to help them recover and to rebuild. And that is what muscle development basically is. If you are trying to develop more muscles or get stronger and all the rest of it, then you are putting your muscles under stress. The fibers are tearing, and you need to have enough protein to help these muscles and these fibers repair and come back stronger and better than before. And yeah, that's what protein does from your kind of resistance and exercising and working out point of view. But in general, you know, if you're getting older and maybe not even putting your body under so much stress, but if you aren't using your muscles a lot, they might waste away, and that's part of the aging process, particularly for women. As you go through menopause, the aging process can really cause your muscles to deteriorate and your bones, and we want to make sure you're getting enough protein to prevent that from happening later life. It is never too late to get started, so even if you are going through menopause, then you can absolutely start now. Like, it's never too late. As I said, even if you're post-menopause, then you can still do lots to help your body increase your protein, to make sure that your muscles are strong, well looked after. They're not going to take forever to repair. If you hurt yourself, if you maybe tear a muscle or pull something, then yeah, you're going to make sure that you're eating well to recover well. But if you are, a teen girl right now, if you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever age you are, if you are premenopausal, then get on it. Start looking after yourself right now, because you're going to create a nice, strong, healthy body. It's going to carry you until you're much older. If you're perimenopausal, get on it. If you're in the throes of menopause, get on it. And if you're post-menopause, get on it, and make sure that you're getting enough protein, because it's going to be so important as we age. And then, yeah, like I said, it promotes growth and strengthens muscle and bone. So if you are a gym buddy, if you are a weekend warrior, if you're out running, if you're taking part in activities, sports, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to make sure you're looking after your body and that you're getting enough protein to help recover and all the rest of it. It's really, really important to just refuel your body and replace what you've broken down, or else that'll lead to injury as well. If you are absolutely smashing the gym, but you're not refueling afterwards, if you're not topping up what you've broken down, then you can end up injuring yourself. And we do not want that, because what is the point of undoing all the hard work that you've done because you're having to sit and recover because you've not looked after yourself properly? We want to avoid that. Now, will it make you bulky? We could go on about this for days, but I'm going to say no. Just no, it's not going to if you do it properly. When we say bulky, each their own. People are going to want to look certain ways. Genetically, you're going to look a certain way, and there's not really much you can do about it. If you're long-limbed, if you're short-limbed, you can't really do much about that. No matter how much Pilates and yogi people go on about that, you cannot stretch out your muscles. They are what they are, and that's it. So you might, carry your weight a bit differently from someone that's all legs 11 and tall. If you're a bit shorter like me, you're going to just carry weight differently. And even tall people, short people, we still all carry our weight differently. Our builds are different. Our lever lengths are different. Our muscles are all different. And that's just something we need to accept. That is what it is. However, you are in control of how much body fat you can carry. Whether that is in an overweight sense, you're in control of how much muscle you can develop to a certain extent. So yeah, if you're thinking about bulky as in looking like a bodybuilder, then it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by lifting weights 2 or 3 times a week. It doesn't happen by just following a training program, not really eating much protein, all the rest of it. It doesn't even happen if you add more protein into your diet. Okay, it's going for women. It is going to take so much training and dedication. Honestly, absolutely pushing yourself to the limits a lot in the gym. It's going to take a lot of food, a lot of protein. It's going to take potentially steroids, because we don't produce enough testosterone naturally to look like a meal, you know, it's, yeah, so you're fine, okay? As long as you're not going over your calories. So if you're in a calorie surplus, if you, right, if you are if you are consuming more calories than your body requires, then you're going to store that excess as fat, okay? And that is going to make you gain weight. You might be overweight if you consume too much over a longer period of time, and then it can lead to obviously kind of a lot of excess fat and becoming overweight. But you know, if you're just eating your kind of regular amount of calories and you're maintaining your regular weight, then adding a bit more protein in isn't going to make too much of a difference unless it takes you over your calories. Okay, so if you are someone who would consume about 2,000 calories a day, okay, and then you have 500 calories of protein added on top of that. It doesn't matter if it's 500 calories of protein, if it was 500 calories of carbs, if it's 500 calories of fat, it's 500 calories at the end of the day, it's 500 calories extra, and it's 500 calories that you won't be burning off, so you will then store as excess fat, okay? And then you'll gain weight. It doesn't matter what the calories are made of, if it's more than what you need, then you will store it as fat. And that is that. So you will only gain weight if you're in a calorie surplus. Repeat after me, you will only gain weight if you're in a calorie surplus. Doesn't matter what you eat. If it is more calories than what you need, then you'll store it as fat. And that's that. Okay, so it's not protein in particular, it's not protein powders, it's not protein bars, it is not protein in general, whether it's meat, fish, you know, anything. It's not. So, like I said, it requires a lot of training, a lot of calories, and steroids, or whatever else to get to the bulky level you're imagining. You will not accidentally end up like Dana Lynn Bailey. And if you don't know who that is, go and look her up because she does actually look class. Even though she might be what certain women may define as bulky, she still looks friggin' amazing. But you're not going to accidentally look like that, so don't worry. And I know what you mean when you say toned. I know exactly what you mean. People, and a lot of PTs especially, like to bitch and, you know, be snide about people saying I want to look toned. We know exactly what you mean when you say it. So you know what you mean, I know what you mean. We just like that kind of bit of muscle definition, no bingo wings, no wobbling about, no wobbly thighs. We all know what we mean when we say that. Nice tight tummy, you know, and we know you don't mean big muscly woman. We know that. So we're all on the same page when it comes to that, and nobody's going to get henched by accident. You think of like when you see teenage boys and they take a stretch, right? It's the best example when they're all that kind of gangly way and awkward looking and whatnot. And they just want to get shredded. They want to get big muscles. They don't want to be skinny. And I'm not speaking for everyone. I just mean in general. I'm thinking of like boys that I was at school with or boys that I've been friends with, and they all take that stretch and they don't like looking all skinny and whatever. And it takes a lot for them to get muscly, like years and years and years, and they've got so much more testosterone than us. So bear that in mind. Just think of yourself as a teenage boy the next time you worry about protein making you bulky, and you'll be like, do you know, actually it took wee Johnny boy 5 years to get to where he is, and he's still not got a lot of muscle. He's still got his wee chicken legs, but as long as his biceps are popping, that's the main thing. So yeah, don't worry about it. You'll be absolutely fine. And yeah, it's not by adding a wee scoop of protein powder into your porridge every morning. We are looking at little adjustments like that when we talk about getting a bit more protein in your diet. Nothing too wild. Right, next, what to eat to boost your protein intake. So I've just listed some simple, fairly common food groups and stuff like that, or foods that you might eat, including some vegan or vegetarian options in there, because not all of us are even consciously vegetarian, and might just not like eating a lot of meat, which is fair enough. Just remember that, you know, it's going to take a lot more from, say, tofu or peas and beans and chickpeas. You'll need to eat a higher quantity to get the same amount of protein as things like your lean meat and red meat. They just have more protein in them per, you know, if you're to compare by weight. Per gram, for example, you know, beef mince or steak is going to have a lot more protein than, say, chickpeas per gram. Okay, so that's just something to be mindful of. But that's not to say don't eat things like chickpeas and peas and beans, because they are so good for you. There's so much that's going to be in them that's not maybe in, you know, turkey or chicken, for example, like more micronutrients and things like that, which is why it's good to have a broad range in your diet. Yeah, that's really important. You want to be having a mixture of things, not necessarily eating the same things day in, day out, but also you don't need to change your diet every single day, but you just want to get as much variety in as you can. It's just the same as, you know, your fruit and veg intake. You want to get as much variety as possible, because you're kind of covering all your bases when it comes to your micronutrients and stuff like that. But yeah, a nice balanced varied diet is ideal when possible. But yeah, I've listed some common foods. So your lean meat, that'll be food that's kind of less fatty. So red meat typically has higher fat in it. But yeah, your lean meats, turkey, chicken, things like that. Red meat, steak, beef mince, like we just mentioned. Fish is awesome. Again, another kind of diverse food, a bit of change from maybe turkey or chicken or something. Get good fats in it. It's got your omega-3s, all these kind of things. Tofu and tempeh. A couple of vegan options there. Eggs, vegetarian option. Obviously, it's not vegan, but eggs are so versatile. You can do so much with those. Have them in a cake. Might not be high protein right enough. Then you get your peas, beans, chickpeas. I will say this is where peanut butter normally gets thrown in. Peanut butter is high in fat. Okay, so remember that nuts are high in fat. They've got more fat than they have protein, which is why I don't consider them a protein source. They'd be more of a fat source, just because there's more fat in it than there is protein. So don't get that mixed up. Don't be absolutely tanning the peanut butter into you if you're thinking it's going to be full of protein. It's high in fat, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just remember that fat has got a lot more calories in it. It's very calorie dense. So just something to be mindful of, because I know a lot of people will, a lot of you will be watching and maybe have particular calorie goals and things like that. So factor that in before you go after on the peanut butter. Lesson that we've all learned the hard way. And yogurt is awesome, whether it's Greek yogurt, Fage, Skyr, all these different ones. You can get them in, like, what do you call that? A pouch. Pouches that you can drink. You can get them like actual yogurt drinks, all these kind of things. But yeah, yogurt is a class one. I would always recommend kind of trying to avoid like fat-free yogurts. Obviously depending on your goal. But if you're trying to kind of have a greater variety in your diet, then typically going for natural yogurt or Greek yogurt, it's probably going to be a bit better for you in terms of your gut health as well. Like, you're not messing about too much with the natural ingredients in it, so it's quite good to just eat a good quality yogurt, I think. But also you've got to go for your own preference, and different yogurts have different protein contents in them as well. You might go for something like Skyr or Fage, and they're really, really dense, they're very thick. Whereas Greek yogurt is a bit more creamy, something like that. So, you just got to go with your own preference. Cottage cheese, a bit of a divider. I find you either love it or hate it. I personally think it's class. I have it on a bagel with a bit of honey over it. Delicious. Some people just cannot abide it, and that's fair enough. But yeah, that's a really good source of protein, and it's naturally low in fat. I would advise do not go for fat-free. I once accidentally picked up fat-free and it was disgusting. It was so watery, and it's naturally low in fat. So why MD's tampering with it, making it fat-free, I do not know. Something I feel quite passionate about, but I'll stop there because I could go on. And then protein powders are great. They're so convenient. You can either just mix them into water, you can add them into your protein. You can get little porridge pots that have already got, the protein mixed in. You can take them as a shake form. You can get ones that from companies that are already made into shakes. Are quite tasty, depending on what you like. Some of them are quite sweet. You just got to try them out and see what you like. Same with the bars. Some taste like sawdust and they're absolutely vile. Some are delicious and they're nice with a cup of tea or a coffee or something like that. And maybe you would normally have a wee bar of chocolate when it's your 11sies. Might be ideal to swap in a bar and you've got like 20 grams of protein there. But again, if you don't like them, don't have them. You do you. That is what we're all about here. We're just looking at suggestions, which brings us on to you making your own high protein template. So we've all got access to the nutrition database. If you're not, then there's a wee link here that you can go onto. It'll take you to it. And you might want to even try making your own high protein template. So if you do feel like, you know, I could do with a little bit more protein in my diet, then you can play about with them. Even just put in one of your own templates that you use just now, if you do use one, or make one kind of rough idea of your daily diet, what you have, like your breakfast if you have one, your lunch, your dinner, whatever. Just fire in some examples of stuff that you would normally have, and then look at it and say, is there any ways that I could adapt this or tweak this to make this a little higher protein? So you might have for breakfast, you might have just some fruit and a cup of tea or something. What could you do to that meal? You could maybe add a shake in, a protein shake. You can maybe add in some yogurt with your fruit to bring up the protein a little bit. Maybe you have like a wee petit filou or something like that. That's a fairly small yogurt. You could even look at swapping that for some Greek yogurt or a skyr or a fage or something like that that's got a higher protein content in it. Simple, you've got one way to up your protein intake. Yeah, you might have porridge. You could add a scoop of protein into that. You could have a shake on the side. You know, just simple ways to up your protein. Same goes for your lunch. Maybe you have like a cheese sandwich or something. Why not throw a bit of chicken on there? Again, boom, a little bit more protein. Same goes for your dinners. Maybe your snacks as well. Like I said, if you have like a bar of chocolate or something for elevensies, then you might look at substituting that with a protein bar if you like it, or you could just add a shake in along with it. Like anything that can make it as simple and straightforward for you as possible, then do it. Go through the recipe packs. There are hundreds and hundreds of ideas there that you can go through, whether it's breakfast, lunches, or dinners, or snacks. There's loads and loads of stuff in them. So have a rifle through, see if you've got any inspiration. Remember, there's the Scott Bapty slow cooker recipes as well. They're all high protein diet, high protein dinner ideas or lunches. So yeah, there's tons of material there for you to go through and give you some ideas. I help where I can when it comes to food. I'm no chef, which is why I outsource getting all the recipe ideas for you guys. But like myself, I've been through it all with just a bit of practice, see what I like, trial and error with these things when it comes to my meals. And you've just got to kind of do the same. But obviously I can help you if you need it. If you are looking for some ideas, or you're like, how can I tweak this to maybe get a bit more protein and such, then just give me a shout and I'll be more than happy to help you out. But yeah, if you are going to go for the nutrition database, I would highly recommend it, because it is a really handy way just to assess your daily diet and see if there are any ways that you can tweak it and make it as simple and convenient and straightforward for you as possible. We don't expect you to be doing big elaborate, protein prep things. You don't need to be having a steak every single day. You don't need to be having 3 protein shakes a day. Remember that health is the priority. Good variety of fruit, veg, and all the other stuff. All your protein sources, your carb sources, your fat sources, whatever it is. Your balanced meal is the most important thing, your balanced diet. And then everything slots in after. Your preferences, snacks, wee extras, supplements, things like that, they come in after. But health and variety, they go at the top, as does your preferences. But yeah, if you need me for anything, give me a shout. I hope you found this useful. And yeah, if you're stuck for ideas, then please let me know.